Giving thanks to God and giving honor to Pastor Cooper and Absentia, Pastor Ingram, who's here with us, the officers and the leadership team of this church, each member one by one. Good morning. Good morning. Good to be in the house of the Lord. Good to be able to come here on your own. Good to see you, Sister Cooper. Give God praise. Brother Darrell, group who has blessed us. And to the folks who are dancing and talking, we give God praise for them. Amen. They did a great job. There's a good spirit in this place. Thank God for the spirit. You can walk into a church and tell how the church is doing by the spirit. And there's a good spirit here. You look relaxed. You don't look tense. Amen.
This way.
Spirit is here. This is pretty much take on the spirit of the leadership. So you're blessed to have a leadership team that provides that kind of attraction and sets the tone for the fellowship. So we thank the Lord for this fellowship and for the leadership team headed by Pastor and Pastor Ingram. I'm so happy to be here. It's been many years since I was here, and I'm delighted to be here now. In much prayer, as are you, with the pastor and First Lady Cooper and members of that family, as we await the ongoing healing and rehabilitation of your pastor, my friend, son. 40 years or more, 40 years. So I'm just delighted to be here. Sorry he's not here, but we know he is here in spirit. Amen. I'm grateful to God for this opportunity to share in the worship this morning. And I was inspired by the caption under the word pastor that you saw on the screen. Can you all place that caption back on the screen? The one on the pastor? And the words that follow that caption. Called and chosen by God. You all see that? All right. Y'all got a good team of audio folks here. I want to invite you to open your Bibles if you have them. Amen. It's made so easy for you all here, so you don't really have to have a Bible to read it. The rest of you have it in your phones and iPads. Folks walk around with iPads and say, I got my Bible. I got it right here. So we want to invite you to open your Bible to chapter 3, the book of Mark.
The only other thing we have is up in here.
Amen.
And it was scripture.
We're going to
So
begin
maybe he's
reading
talking about the picture.
at that 13th verse. If you have it, don't say it. Mark 3, verse 13. And Jesus goes up into a mountain
You think that's the one he's talking
and
about?
called unto him whom he would. And they came unto him. And he ordained 12
That's the numbers.
that they should be with him,
That doesn't say it.
and that he might send them forth to preach, and to have power to
That's the
heal
one.
sicknesses and to cast out devils. And Simon he surnamed Peter, and James the son of Zebedee, and John the brother of James, and he named them Boanerges, which is the sons of thunder, and Andrew, and Philip, and Bartholomew, and Matthew, and Thomas, and James the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus, and Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, Judas Iscariot, which was also betrayed him. And they went into an house. And these are the disciples, the apostles that Jesus selected. I want to talk about choice men. Choice people. Choice people. Choice men. I'm very interested and concerned about looking at people who are in church. And I wonder sometimes how God classifies us. All right? I wonder sometimes, based upon the fervency or the silence or the intense interest of those of us who come to church, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, people have certain Sundays they come. How God would grade us. This is the week, last week in Portsmouth, I don't know about Richmond, of SOL. And when I look at our culture and the context in which we live, I seem to always approach the sermon on the basis of where we are as a culture and as a people. And when I look at this text and when I consider the context in which we're living now, I began to think about Jesus beginning his ministry. Starting out alone. So, a barefooted man walking without a job, without money, and beginning on a journey with nothing. And began, as we have seen him, by being tested of the devil, you remember, passing all those tests, and then setting out to fulfill the purpose that God has given him. And he walks out without nothing. And he begins to call and appoint people and then change it. Walking out. That blows my mind. That's amazing. And he walks out and begins calling people one by one. Well, what if he could have got you? No. But he walks out. That's what this passage is all about. The impact of Jesus upon people. Men called in that 13th verse. Men appointed in the 14th and 15th verse. 13th verse he called. 14th, 15th verse he appoints them. And then changes them in the 16th and the 19th. Called, picked out. Picked out and chose some choice men. But there were a few of them who showed a bit more interest than others. There are some members persons who are members of Metropolitan, but they're just members. I mean, they love the Lord, but they're just members. They come if everything is, fine with them. But if something, they stump their toe, they well. I think I started a cold last night, so they won't come. But Jesus went out and selected choice people. But there were a few that showed more interest than the others. Who showed more commitment? Many followed, but all of them didn't follow, but so far. They were there, but they didn't follow them so close. I mean, I heard y'all talk about Monday. I got to get my check. Y'all took up money and I didn't know money. Y'all got a system here. One has to come every Sunday to catch it. But anyway, there were some who followed just so close. You were talking about money. There's some folks who say, well, I ain't got nothing today. Although they may have made or gotten some last week, they didn't think about giving anything today. They may have gotten the nails done and the toes done and the new attachment and the shoes. But that's what they usually do. But in terms of church, that wasn't a major item. They didn't think about giving on Monday or Tuesday or yesterday. They said they give what, I got $2 or $3. I'll give that, But there were some who just followed so close. Their mind wasn't there. Their hearts weren't there, but they loved the Lord. Don't misunderstand. All right. They'll get to the fire quickly. I mean, I don't talk. But in terms of giving, they be loud and all that. But in terms of being committed, are concerned about the mortgage, are concerned about the insurance, that's for y'all. The rest of y'all. But Jesus, after calling these choice men, he noticed that there were some who listened with more attention than others. I'm not talking about you. Those in there. I'm not talking about you. But there were some who listened with a bit more interest. Yes, sir. They may be sitting in the back, it doesn't matter. But they were more alert. They were more awake. They responded with a stirred heart. They showed more attachment. After the choir and the crowd was gone, they may have picked up some paper on the floor. They may have picked up the hymn book. After the choir is gone, they may have stayed around a little longer to shake more hands. Who didn't have food on their mind right after worship, but Jesus noticed it. Because their heart was on Jesus. And their heart was stirred until they didn't want to leave. They didn't want to come down from the mountain. The Spirit was so high that they wanted to just stay there and savor the Spirit. And it was something that got a hold of me while I was there. I don't want to leave right now. I don't want to come down from the mountain. My heart is here. I have one choir at our church who, when they have sung on Sunday, pretty good choir, I think, and the benediction is over, they don't leave. They keep singing. People are walking out and people are making noise, but they're still singing. Because apparently they feel that they have a little more to give. Or they apparently feel that the Spirit is so close to them that they don't want to let it go. Y'all hear me? Am I making sense? Am I coming to somebody's house? Do you understand what this text is saying? God chose many. God called many, but he chose a few. Now, as you look at this text, the men appointed by Jesus, they were appointed by Jesus for 4 specific purposes. And the first, you look at that text, said they were appointed by Jesus to do what? Can you see it? To do what? To be with him. Look at that text. Verse 13. What does it say? To be with him. You would imagine that this man stepping out alone. He want to have some people to be with him. He's about to embark upon a great enterprise. 21, 22 years in your case. He needed some people to. All right. You shouldn't have problems with that. Those who he noticed, who he wanted to be with. And the first lesson that Jesus wanted to teach me, he wants the people who will fellowship with him. Who would devote some time and be willing to know him, to understand him, and people who he could trust, people he could lean on, ask to watch his back when he goes to pray. There are a whole lot of folks can be with you, but when the going gets rough, when the money is low, and when you need somebody that will cry with you, who are there saying, "What do you need, Pastor?" Jesus wanted somebody that he could lean on. That late in the night, if he wanted to talk to somebody would be there. That's what this passage is about. Pastor been here 21 years or so, and preaching 40 years. You don't go to a church and not have some folks you can depend on. And they're the ones that other folks look up and say, every time you turn around, it's the same old folk over and over. You need to have somebody that you can depend on. Who's thinking about the church on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday when the going gets tough, and on Sunday morning you look at the envelope and you know they love the church. I don't go to bed on Sunday night without knowing who loves the church. Thank the Lord for modern convenience. My finance committee sends me on my computer every Sunday night not only who was there, but who was shown up there. I have members who come here every Sunday. Look good. Got new car. Great shoes. Hair right. Sings in the choir. What, can't teach Sunday school? And give them once a year. I look at you, I see how you look at me, I don't care. These disciples were chosen to live in the presence of Jesus, ever learning about it, and drawing their spiritual nourishment and strength from him. Revelation 3:1 says what? Behold, I stand at the door now, and whoever hears my voice and will open the door, I'll what? I'll come in. Jesus. That's what he did. The disciples, these guys were chosen to be with Jesus.
Yes.
To learn from Jesus. To come to understand him and to know him. Second, the disciples were appointed to be sent forth. To go before. You've been taught. You understand it. You know it. You know what his thoughts are. You pretty much understand who he's about. You know what his purpose is. Go into the word. Preach the gospel to all people. You bought into that. And you know. So now you can go forward. One of my officers came to me some years ago and was talking about what you had said, what your feeling was about something. He said, I told him, I said, Pastor Fleming didn't say that. I said, you did what? He said, I told him, you didn't say that. He said, yes, he did. I said, no. He said, you weren't there. I don't have to be there. He said he didn't say it. He said, how do you know him? He said, I know him. I said, that sounds pretty dangerous to me, brother. He said, I know him. And I've known him for 7 years, and that's not his philosophy. I asked him, I said, what did he say? He said, you were talking about the church having some kind of festival or some kind of bonanza and have. He said, you ain't saying that. I said, really? He said, I told him, you don't believe in that in the church, especially Georgian boys. Church get together and have something that's different. But you ain't said that to Rick no one. You can't represent the Lord if you don't know him. You can't speak about who the Lord is and what his purpose is if you never come to any training. That's right. You stand on the side and come here every other Sunday. You don't know much about